Game number 2 here on rink number 2 of this Thursday of action at the 2019 show on Youth Hockey Hub. Glad you're with us. This one pits Minnesota at 2-3 against North at 3-2. This is the final game of the 6, we'll call them regularly scheduled contests in the 2019 show. And then playoff time begins tomorrow. Top 8 teams, both of these teams still with a shot to be in that. Minnesota needing a win, obviously more so than North. Maybe a little help sitting at 2-3. 3-2 is mentioned for North. North will be in the white, gray, and red. Minnesota with the old English M on those blue and dark blue, light blue and dark blue uniforms. They'll skate left to right. That means they'll attack on Paul Suda. Goaltender is 1-1, 81% on the save percentage. The other end, it's Aiden Finn. 2-3 is the only goaltender on the roster. So he's 2-3, 79%. He's allowed all 25 of the goals for this Minnesota team that has scored 17 in the tournament so far. North, meanwhile, has scored 23, which puts them just into the upper half of scores. Left to right goes Minnesota. With it quickly up on the near side for Nick Johnson. Johnson has that one float high, and it goes up into the netting and drops back down. First stoppage, 35 seconds in. Changes both ways as these two teams try to skate into a bit of a rhythm here early. Victory over Midwest for North, 3-1. In their last game, lost to New England 4-3. For Minnesota. They lost their opener to USA and then have split the next 4. Meanwhile, it was an opening game loss to South, a team that we just saw win in overtime moments ago. And 3 of the next 4 have been victories for North, with the only loss to the unbeaten Team USA. We'll see in our final game coming up here on rink number 2 tonight. 13:56 to go. It's worked out by North to the blue line on the feed up ahead to Cooper Kalkbrenner. 2 goals, 2 assists for Kalkbrenner, the forward. Gets hung up there at the blue line at neutral ice. It's controlled by North again, and they slip it down into the Minnesota end. But only Minnesota skaters there to pull it out. Quickly slips past the stick of Connor Schubert. He has to try and track it down. All he can do is poke it back towards neutral ice. Defensive teammates back trying to settle it down. Pushed up ahead, deflects off a stick. That means Phoenix Cahill has a chance to get after it on the far side boards for North. Stick down on the ice belongs to a Minnesota skater. Che Kwame tracks it for North, tries to squeeze between 2 defenders. He's stopped up, but Ryder Rivard is right there. Rivard able to push it down into the Minnesota end with 13 minutes to go here in this first period. We play 15-minute periods, resurface between the second and third here on the show, but most of you tuning in at this point are probably familiar with that, as you've seen the action this week. Max Aronson quickly ahead of the defender, and he dangles it too strong for himself. And a hold is going to be whistled. It's Aronson. Just lost track of that. And a penalty coming up here on North. After the near miss, it's Phoenix Cahill will be into the box. So a power play opportunity. 2 minutes with 12:44 to go here in this first period. Puck slapped around and slips past Doosan. All the way back, played by Finn out of the net. Slaps it back towards neutral ice. North down a skater, trying to get opportunistic. Instead, it's Will O'Neill flying in with some speed around the far side circle. Has it pushed off his stick by Pinner. Forces it up and out of the zone right at center ice. Doosan tracks it down. Minute 30 to go in the power play opportunity. Pinner after it outside the far circle. It's a man back with him, but it's Grunberg. He's between the circles and back in front of the net. Couldn't clear. Picked up by Jack Fitzgerald. Trying to walk down in that corner as it's pushed back up. Flies in, controlled by Grunberg. Able to tap it right back to the circle. Chance to clear here for North. And they do. Get it out of their zone. Che Kwame able to send it down. Too strong, though. Nobody can catch up to it. The ice comes back the other way. Icing with 1:06 to go on the power play. 11:49 remaining. Pass slips back out in front, trying to find Andon Roy. He missed it, but it winds up on the far side stick of a Minnesota skater. It's Nick Johnson. 3 goals and an assist for Johnson in the tournament. Sent it wide. Suda tracked it down. Stick side faceoff of Suda, controlled. Johnson had it. Puck was on its end. He slaps it across to the near side. Set there by Roy. Roy trying to split 2 defenders. Gets to the top of the slot. Has the puck poked away, but it's sent right back down by Molman. Roy tracked it again. Feed in front. Shot sails wide. Kyler Flanders goes flying in towards the top of the crease, and his offering just goes wide. 25 seconds to go in the power play. 11 minutes remaining in the first period. Molman trying to hold it in. Back to Roy at the circle. Long shot from the far side. Johnson off the feed. Slaps that one into Suda, who kept it alive. Bouncing around, and a trip's going to be called. Or an interference. And that's going to be also on North with 12 seconds remaining in their initial power play. So 5-on-3 for another 12. Charlie Estebeau. "12 seconds of 5-on-3 hockey. North down 2 skaters. Pinned up. Grunberg helping waste away at least the initial threat of the 2-skater disadvantage. Does that. Dallas Jackson flies in as the 4th skater. It's in front. Bouncing puck goes wide as Max Thompson turned and fired towards the net. Not quite out of the zone. Thompson able to hold it there just for an extra second at the blue line. Then it slips out free. Icing, though, rolls it back the other way with 1:28 to go in the power play. 10:23 left. Here from the Bloomington Ice Garden, Bloomington, Minnesota side of the 2019 show, brought to you here live on Youth Hockey Hub. Action going on behind us in rink number 1 as well. Playoff action will get started early tomorrow morning. Quarterfinal rounds with the top 8 teams squaring off to take home the trophy. North trying to survive. Back-to-back penalties here on the shorthanded chance. Ander Rahala. Rahala tries to flip it in between some defenders, and it's taken away. So he did just a bit to waste away some time. Coming up on a minute to go on the power play. Worked back out by Froome. Froome comes back on the near side to Aronson. Aronson sends that shot in, deflected down. 58 seconds to go. Up on the near side, bounding through neutral ice. Chance for Jackson to get after it if he gets on his horse. Instead, tapped back by a Minnesota defender. Working right back up the ice. Thompson slides through neutral. Everyone stays on side. He delivers it right back wide of the circle. Looks for it again. Thompson was floating towards the net. That puck popped up, and Suda corrals it in the glove with 37 seconds left in the power play. Fitzgerald, Molman, and O'Neill slide back onto the ice. This power play opportunity for Minnesota. Along the goal line for Penner. He's able to clear it out of the zone, stays alive at neutral ice. That will force Molman to go over and track it down. 22 seconds remaining in the power play. Molman gets it ahead at neutral ice to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald wings it in with O'Neill off to his right. Instead, it's taken away by North. Cleared down the ice, and they're going to call an icing on that one. It was nearly tipped by Minnesota, it looked like. But no contact, so back to the other end with 11 seconds remaining in the power play. 9:06 to go here in the first period. 1 goal loss, 3 goal loss, the last 2 for Minnesota. So they've played tight ever since they lost to what has turned out to be the number 1 team in this tournament in the opening game. Team USA scored 9 goals in that game. They've done that 2 more times since then. 8:50 to go. And the penalty expires. So we're back to 5-on-5. So both killed off by North. Minnesota forced to push it back out of the zone to try and start their offense at even strength. 8.5 minutes to go here in the first. Neither team really tilting the ice one way or the other. Obviously, the penalties back-to-back gave that appearance for Minnesota. Edge lost over there on the far side is Penner. Brings it off the boards, works it out past his own blue line, shovels it up ahead to Kwame. Kwame had it tapped around off his stick, loose it neutralized. Kwame back after it again. It does just slide into the Minnesota zone and pop right back out of it. Gruenberg was in on the fight, and Gruenberg takes it away. He'll go 1-on-3. Waiting for his teammates coming on, including Rahala fresh off the bench. Instead, Minnesota takes it away with 7:45 to go. Chance at a forecheck takeaway. Goes Orion. The puck springs ahead into the north zone. From the blue line it goes. Rahala walled off over there. Minnesota hangs on to possession in this scoreless game. Suda keeping a close eye on each post, sliding side to side with the action behind him. Molman trying to pop it back out in front. Gets somebody to be able to wrap it around. Instead, it's peeled off. Johnson works along the goal line again. Looking to feed. Now walks his way in himself. Slides it there to the back end. And it's Brady Molman who scores for the first time in the tournament. And it's 1-0 Minnesota. Working. And finally, Nick Johnson able to step past at least one defender. And Molman on the weak side knocks it home. And a whistle and a penalty coming up. So my eyes deceived me. Excuse me, it wasn't Molman, it was Vandertop. On the receiving end of that Johnson pass. So Casey Vandertop scores his 4th of the tournament. Go along with 4 assists. Either way you slice it, it's a 1-0 Minnesota lead. Kyler Flanders into the penalty box. So an opportunity to try and equalize here with the power play. First one for North. They just killed off 2 consecutive for Minnesota, including 12 seconds of 5-on-3 time. Now North trying to get the offense going. Puck slips down into the corner. Taken away off the boards by Kalkbrenner. He holds, fires into the middle for Gruenberg. Gruenberg and Kalkbrenner right there. Kalkbrenner loses his stick. Make that Gruenberg. Puck floats free, near side, brought back in by Pinner to the weak side. Back to Pinner, swing and a miss there. Looked to have an open net behind Finn, couldn't knock it home. Good feed from Dallas Jackson on the far side. Jackson has it now, working away from the wall. Fires to the far side for Estebo. His shot from deep goes wide. Tracked down again to Jackson in front, shot and a score. Lots of bodies cycling around in front. Looks like Kalkbrenner was the man who put it into the back of the net to tie us up at 1. So Jackson the assist to Kalkbrenner. And the power play goal pops home here in the first to tie us up at 1. Neutralized faceoff coming up after the draw, after the score. 5.5 minutes remaining here in the first period. 18 goals in the tournament now for Minnesota. Their high has been 5. North had a 10-goal game. They beat North America earlier in the tournament. They've scored 24 goals now. Caught up in behind the net. North skater was down to a knee, but Ryder Rivard hops back up to renew the fight to try and peel this one from the wall. Kwame there with him. Finally wrapped around to some space. Cahill tracks it down, sends it right back around, but intercepted by Minnesota. Good pressure there. Kwame tried to take it away from behind the net, and instead it's peeled away by Minnesota. Pushed up by From Eventually pushes it across the blue line. Dumps it down into the corner. Kwame after it. Vandertop, the goal scorer for Minnesota, on his hip. Dumped down to Rahala. Rahala tries to stop on a dime, gives it away to Vandertop. Vandertop below the goal line, feeds back out in front. Flanders to the near side. Kronberg back towards the goal line, slips in past Roy. Roy stays after it in the corner. Chance in front for Vandertop. And eventually settles into the side of the cage and held there by Suda. 4:06 to go here in this first period. 1-1, Vandertop scores for Minnesota. Kalkbrenner ties it up on the power play for North. Off the draw, poked around. Roy trying to control to the far side. Rahala takes it away, moving past his own blue line, trying to hit Hunter Rudolph in motion. Didn't materialize. Rahala's got a touch up. It's sent back down by Jace Panzer. Panzer's pass wraps around the boards in below the goal line with 3:40 to go here in this first period. Minnesota pushing it ahead. Liam Schultz. Schultz all the way wide of the circle. Puts it in on the back door. Grant Frum was right there. Puck finds his stick. Couldn't find the back of the net. 3:26 to go as it's back to Roy. His shot deflects a little bit wide. Still tied at 1. Suda living right so far as some of these bounces haven't gone the way of Minnesota. Flanders back to track it down. Sends it all the way through neutral ice, banging off the boards, and that'll be an icing to bring it back with 3:04 to go. You're watching the 2019 show here on Youth Hockey Hub. Minnesota at 2-3, North at 3-2. Top 4 teams, top 8 teams through those 6 regulation games make their way into the playoffs. Everyone else into a consolation where they're guaranteed at least an extra game. As we mentioned in our first game of the day here from this rink, also a skills challenge and an all-star game coming up. Duncan Metcalf took it away as Minnesota tried to work it up the ice. He's working now with Kalkbrenner, who slides to the middle. Metcalf trying to find control, can't do it. Puck spins away, and Minnesota flies back down the ice. 1-on-3 though, so North still with the advantage, but it's pushed in by Fitzgerald. Eventually, back it goes to Molman. Off the boards on the far side. Puck free for the taking, pops out and shoveled past the blue line with 2:20 remaining. Force Molman push it back, nearly intercepted. Aronson ends up with it on his stick, slides through the circle, beats a defender, shovels it along the goal line, but into the side of the cage. Goes right down at his feet and just didn't see it. So the puck slides to the blue line. Dusan gives it away to Metcalf. Metcalf flying into the Minnesota zone. Instead, he'll just dump it and head for the bench. Change with inside 2 minutes to go here in this first period. Kwame coming out, strong forecheck, pokes it away from Molman. Still after it along the far side boards. Help over from Minnesota to maintain possession. Minute 45 to go. That pass comes in behind Fitzgerald. He can't track it down. Pushed up again to Kwame. Kwame's got a couple of skaters inside to his left. He goes wide, far side corner. Tracks all the way behind the net. Minute 35 to go, setting up the one-timer for Hansen. And it's deflected away in traffic. Puck screams out of the zone. Back down and an icing. With minute 25 to go. Still plenty of time here in this first. Just a brief pause between first and second before getting back to action for these two teams. USA and New England coming up here on rink number 2 in our final game from this location of the day. Minute 23. And counting here in the first. Controlled still in the Minnesota zone by North. Slips past Estebeau. He can't hang on to it, and this trip is going to come up as soon as North touches it up with a minute 8 remaining in the period. And a penalty here. A frustrated Will O'Neill's going to get exactly what he's looking for as Charlie Estebeau into the penalty box. Already the third penalty drawn by North in this first period. Draw comes out to center ice. Even with that, it's North who's gone 1 for 1 on their penalty opportunities. Under 50 seconds to go. From the blue line, slips back out here. Down into the corner with 33 seconds left. Rahala sprinting up ahead. He's got a man, Hunter Rudolph, into his left. Rahala angles, top of the crease, dangles his way down on the backside. It's Rudolph for a 2-1 lead for North. Short-handed. With 23.7 seconds to go. An excellent break. Rahala made it happen. Rudolph finished it off. And it's 2-1 North. They've scored the last two, and they've done them both with special teams. Once on the power play and once on the penalty kill. Still 1:05 to kill off this penalty, but just 13 of it here in this period. 13 seconds, that is. Grunberg gets caught up at the blue line, stalls him for just a moment. 4 seconds left in the period. They can regroup here and look at the final 50 seconds of the power play when the second begins. A 1-0 lead early for Minnesota with 7:15 to go on the goal scored by Casey Vandertop, his 4th of the tournament. Then back-to-back goals to close out the scoring in the first as on the power play. Cooper Kalkbrenner scored for the 3rd time in the tournament, and then shorthanded on the break, Hunter Rudolph scored his 5th of the tournament. That puts him in 2nd place all alone. The man who fed him the pass for that 5th goal, Ander Rahala. He has the top spot in goals scored for North with 6. We'll keep it right here as we'll have the second period shortly. 2-1, it's 52 seconds of power play time. 3rd power play opportunity for Minnesota. North had the 1, and they scored on it. Doing a little extra ice maintenance here. Scraping some off. And so we'll get things set when these two teams ready for play. Here from the Bloomington Ice Garden, North American Hockey Showcase Thursday afternoon action. Couple of early games today, but over at Mariucci Arena, so we've had the afternoon contests here to wrap up regulation. And in the postseason, wouldn't really call it the postseason in a tournament. The playoffs, championship level of the 2019 show will begin tomorrow. 5-on-4 for 52 seconds to start the second. North down a skater, but up a goal. Roy desperately down on a knee, trying to hang on to possession of that puck. Couldn't quite do it against 3 defenders. Pushed ahead by Dallas Jackson, who had the assist on the first goal of this game for North. That tied it at 1 at the time. Minnesota still time to work with if they can establish the zone here. 20 seconds as they dip in behind the North goal line. Couldn't hang on to it. North clears the zone. 15 seconds to go. Vandertop, the goal scorer for Minnesota. Now to Hoy. Splits a pair of defenders. Can't get all the way clear of the long stick of Grunberg. That is going to finish off the penalty. So right to left going Minnesota here in period number 2 in their all blue, light and dark uniforms. White, gray, and red for North. Suda on that side gave up the early 1-0 lead. His teammates have come back, got him a power play goal and a shorthanded goal. Give him something to protect now as the puck hops up over the glass. 3:47 remaining. Excuse me, 13:47 left off that first digit here in the second period. Kwame intercepts at neutral ice, going 1-on-2. Some skaters late to the fray. Tries to send it on the near side to Rivard. Went in behind him, so he's got to chase it down into the corner. Caught up there, then springs free to the near side circle. Kwame after it again, bouncing puck. Right back down into the corner. Schultz trying to take it away from him for Minnesota. It's a little extra help, but so does Rivard. Rivard comes in to help Kwame, that is. Ends up down on the deck. Kwame's got it again. And behind the goal line, tries to center back out in front. It's slapped at by Oakton Hansen. Minnesota, chance to clear it. Have to reverse and work it up under control. Grant Frum has it. Finally does officially clear it out of the zone, but right into some traffic on that far side. Two skaters down. The puck still up for grabs, taken away by Minnesota. 12.5 minutes to go here in this second. Up it goes for Vandertop. He'll fire a long shot, turned into a difficult save for Suda. Stays right with it, pulled into the chest and dropped down on the crease, covers up. 12:29 remaining. Tapped away by Flanders. Just as it got to neutral ice, so that turns it into a scrum here. Rudolph, he's got, so far, the difference-making go-ahead goal for North. Back onto the stick of Panzer. Panzer and Rudolph. Rudolph hits the far side post. The outside of it caroms wide. Rudolph, shy of the circle, ended up losing the puck. Back the other way comes Vandertop. Fires it over to the far side. Long shot. Deflected off of Suda. Down below the goal line. Rahala a chance to clear. With control, Rahala through neutral ice. Panzer did not quite stay onside. That was going to be a trick to stay onside. He had a lot of speed, and a guy who was inside tried to turn and walk along the blue line and just forced into the zone. So the face-off coming out of the zone. Jackson v. Schultz to take it here. Jackson for North. Keeps it alive for Kalkbrenner. Tried to get it back to Kalkbrenner. It ends up in the bench. 11:36 to go. Send it out to center again. Jackson and Schultz again. This time Schultz quick to it, but slaps it to the far side. North can track it down. 11:30 remaining here in this second period. Stick down on the ice belongs to a Minnesota skater with 11:17 to go. Drop down below the blue line. Out to neutral ice. Kalkbrenner, settles it in on the near side. From the corner, trying to distribute, lost the puck instead. Three Minnesota skaters surrounded on the far side. Worked away by Metcalf for North. Had it for a moment, then back to neutral ice. Drops down at the feet of Roy. Roy trying to split two defenders. Roy into the crease. Roy hangs onto it and fires just wide. Puck wraps behind the net. Roy nearly turned nothing into something right there to tie the game at 2. Instead, still a 2-1 lead for North. Three skaters converge on the puck in the corner. It's peeled away by the North defenders. Duncan Metcalf sent it down the ice, and that's going to be an icing. 10:29 to go. Will get them the change, but brings it back down into the Minnesota end. Not out on the far side, held back down by Molman. Tries to walk it in, has the pocket picked by Grunberg. Back out it goes. Molman up top, the bench telling him to go quicker than that. Bouncing puck inside and just shoveled wide. Ended up near the stick of Aronson. And he couldn't redirect on net. Somehow made its way untouched through all that traffic. It's still in the zone. Picked up by Vandertop for Minnesota, but then it slips out. Aronson shovels it backwards. Play it to Fitzgerald in the center circle. Tapped away by North and down into the zone, and that forces Aronson to go back after it. Fitzgerald had it for a moment, turn and a quick fire shot from Hansen. And that one saved by Finn. 9:40 to go in the second. 2-1, all the scoring in the first. Power play goal, shorthanded goal for North to overcome a 1-0 lead for Minnesota early. 9:40 left in this second. Minnesota controls the draw from. Had it in the corner, lost it back to North. Finn trying to keep an eye on the puck behind the net. Cahill out at the circle. Pushes it across to the far side. Larson trying to track it down. Cahill has to do that at neutral ice. Looking for Rudolph, could just fly it past him. Along the boards where it's played behind the net by Finn. Rudolph has it now. Trying to redirect under duress from Max Thompson for Minnesota. Rudolph, though, is able to spring the puck free to a teammate on the near side. Panzer got it back to Rudolph. Panzer after it again. From the goal line, after it. Puck taken away by Fitzgerald for Minnesota. Taken away but not out. Panzer still after it. Rudolph trying to guard the blue line right down below us. O'Neill able to just sweep it out, sweep it ahead. Schultz catches up to it, splits two defenders, maintains his feet, fires it in, and that goal no good, as it looked like it was going to beat Suda, but just flies by. Now it's in tight to the crease again, and Suda with a defender right in his lap has to cover it up with 8:34 to go. Near miss for Minnesota. Their speedy forward, Liam Schultz. 2 goals for him in the tournament. Vandertop trying to keep this and win this draw in their zone. Alive for just a moment. Jackson, though, still stays after it. Pushes towards the top of the zone, but not out. Caught up on the near side. Johnson in over on the attack to try and pull it away from Minnesota. Puck stalled here as we come up on 8 minutes remaining in the second. Finally, Hoy able to clear it a bit, but Jackson more with possession for North. Trails into the corner, and we'll do it all again just deeper into the zone. Taken away by Minnesota. Walk behind the goal line. Wraparound chance turned away by Suda. And that does slide out of the zone, so North now with possession. Grunberg flies it. Kalkbrenner up ahead coming off the bench. 1-on-2. He's got a late skater in with him. His centering pass is deflected. Touched away by Minnesota. Good defense. Back to Vandertop. Vandertop 1-on-2. He'll slide wide of the circle. Along the goal line. Drags it with him. Just maintain possession. Nothing fancy. 7:20 to go. One-timer back out in front. Molman sends it wide. 7:15 to go. Looking for Vandertop or Molman. Molman tracks it down closer to the blue line. He'll dump it down on the wall to Vandertop. Sliding puck, free to Molman, back to the middle. Right there, shot taken by Roy. It's deflected away before it gets into the pad of Suda. Under 7 minutes to go here in the second. No scoring yet in the second period as it's 2-1 in favor of North. Kyle Grunberg, chance to get it out of the zone, and he does just that. No icing. Dosan has to track this one down with Kalkbrenner flying after him. Instead, Kalkbrenner peels off, and they'll get the change. So Dosan sends it up ahead. Fitzgerald walking it in. Make that Johnson. Johnson centers it right top of the crease, and all kinds of skaters converging, and it just caroms and stays wide of the blue paint. 6:24 to go. Right idea, but nobody could get the stick on it in all that traffic. Stays at 2-1. Bounced ahead. Kronberg. Outside the circle. Back up top it goes. Doesn't get through traffic. Knocked down by Hansen. From tries to wrap it all the way around. Meets a North stick with under 6 minutes to play in that near side corner. Back towards the blue line. Just held in by Schultz. Schultz trying to go wide. Schultz fires it through, and it's deflected up and in. Schultz sends it on net. It's deflected up and over Suda, and we're tied at 2. 5:50 to go in the second. Minnesota back on the board. So Aronson gets the assist, and Jack Fitzgerald, his first goal of the tournament. On the redirect to tie us up at 2. Long shot, deflects off the pads of Finn, still alive, top of the slot, peeled away by Panzer. Panzer had it taken off his stick with under 5:20 to go. Long pass up to Fitzgerald again. He'll enter it in against one defender, had it slapped away by Esteban. Back to Kronberg. Kronberg has Rahala chasing after him. Kronberg, though, able to feed it back up ahead. Aronson slides in past the blue line, splits a couple of defenders. That one too far out in front. Somebody tried to tap it back to Aronson, and he's swallowed up with just under 5 minutes to go here in this second period. Suda beaten there on the break and on a tip for the second goal. Traffic had just materialized in front. Long shot well off the ice. And then tipped in by Fitzgerald in front. Long feed in towards the front of the crease. Tapped around, forcing Finn to cover it up. The second attempt there was Kalkbrenner. 4:43 to go. 2019 show here on Youth Hockey Hub. Final regularly scheduled game. Playoffs begin tomorrow. So, of course, check the website for what the pairings become. Vandertop can't beat 3 defenders. Into the zone on his own. It's poked away. Metcalf to pick it up for North. Metcalf sends it banging off the boards, wrapping around. Finn goes to play it. Minnesota can push it right back the other end. Flanders will skate past one defender and a second to take it across the blue line. Stops in his tracks there. That one fed up ahead, but deflected down by a defenseman. Forced Doosan to track it back with 4 minutes to go. Tied at 2. The only score in the second comes for Minnesota. Fitzgerald off the tip and the redirect on the high shot. Just a minute and 50 seconds to go. Neutral zone face-off. Kwame works it on the far side boards, absorbs a hip check rather. Able to feed it down into the corner. Larson was playing at the blue line. He almost took the chance to make a change, but then it's turned over here. Roy after it. Roy kicks it to himself. Roy settles to the far side with a feed towards Johnson. It's back out to the blue line. Held in by Minnesota. 3:25 to go here in the period. Trying to get to Roy back in the middle. Puck just dangles there and taken away by North. Pushed out on the near side by Grunberg. Grunberg steps inside a defender. Wanted somebody to be there on the left side. There was nobody home. Minnesota there. Would have worked out well if it was a 2-on-2. Instead, it was a 1-on-2, and Minnesota takes it away. They're in onside. Bouncing puck through the neutrals, or excuse me, through center ice, and Andon Roy can't direct it home. Under 3 minutes to go. Quickly, Rahala skates behind a teammate. Panzer there with him, and they say Panzer wasn't able to hold up enough. He thought he had. He knew what was happening, and he knew Rahala was a shade behind him. From neutral with 2.5, Aronson does get it into the zone. He slaps it down with some authority towards Vandertop below the goal line. Puck sticks on these near side boards again. Fitzgerald walked with it for a moment, then ended up down on a knee, had the puck poked off his stick. Rudolph over to pick it up at neutral ice. He's coming in onside. Has Jackson make it Grunberg inside of him. That is Jackson over there in on the hunt for the puck. Instead, Minnesota takes it away. Under 2 minutes to go here in the second. All tied at 2. The only score so far from Minnesota here in this period. They came into the second down 2-1. Worked into the zone by Kronberg. Sent right back. Slips past Flanders. Rahala picks it up. Rahala going wide. Rahala dangles. Drags inside and scores. 3-2. North takes the lead. What a move from Ander Rahala for his 7th of the tournament. Minute 22 to go before they get a longer break. And Ander Rahala makes it 3-2 in favor of North. Minnesota looking to equalize. Thompson has it outside the far circle. Drops it back for Molman. Trying to start the offense. He lost track of it, though, and it's picked up by Kalkbrenner. He walks the tightrope inside the board and the defender far side. Kalkbrenner coming in, tries to shovel that one backhanded, and it goes wide. North trying to hang on to it. That puck slides through some traffic. Metcalf over after it. He can't win that battle. Instead, it's Minnesota who brings it out. Nick Johnson to the near side. Trying to get around a defender. He's knocked away. Kwame sends it off the boards. Held down by Dusan. He'll send it down into the North zone. 24 seconds to go. Back out to the blue line. Dusan goes back out. Molman settles it down. Plenty of time to work when you're in the zone. 15 seconds to go. Shot, stop, save once, twice by Suda. Still alive with 9 seconds left. North trying to push it out and survive the final gasp from Minnesota here in the second. And they will do just that. Buzzer sounds. These guys get a longer break. And for North, it will be with a 3-2 lead, courtesy of a beautiful finish from Ander Rahala. Rahala, Rudolph, and Kalkbrenner score for North. Vandertop and Fitzgerald for Minnesota. We've got a 1-goal game going to the third. Back with that after this here on the 2019 show on Youth Hockey Hub. Headed to the third period, Team North takes a goal late in the second to give them a 3-2 lead. Ander Rahala right now, the difference-making goals. We enter the final 15 of regulation. 1-goal game. We've had some good ones so far. First game here on Rink 2 to end regular pool play of the 2019 show here on Youth Hockey Hub. That one went to overtime, ended 3-2 in overtime. This one 3-2 right now in regulation in favor of the squad in gray, white, and red. Minnesota in the blue and the dark blue. They had a 1-0 lead, tied the game at 2. After North scored 2 straight to answer and take a lead. And now North, the last to score. Their top scorer, Ander Rahala, with his 7th. Sniper shot from the near side for Aiden Roy. Nearly found its way to the post at the very least, but sails wide. 1 minute gone in period number 3. Minnesota hanging on to the puck in the zone throughout this entire first minute of the third period. North unable to clear. Now some space to the far side, and there's Rahala. Through neutral ice with Panzer off to his left. Circles wide, fires that shot directly into the glove of Aiden Finn. Looking for his 3rd goal in net. He's the lone netminder on this roster. Paul Suda stays out there working over the crease on the other side for North. He is split time with Chasen Baseflug, who actually has 2 of the 3 victories for North. But Suda trying to even things up amongst the goaltenders. Needs a big third period here to do it. Would have been offsides, but North able to slip it back past the blue line. Popped up ahead, not under control. That forces Cahill to come over and pick it up again. Spins it past Metcalf all the way down to the boards for Finn to play it out of the net. 13-20 here in the third period. Into the corner it goes, bouncing around, whipped up to the near side boards. Held out there for a moment by Estebeau. He nearly lost that one. Played it into a turnover. Arm is up, penalty coming up. And it will be on Minnesota. No penalties in the second period either way. The second period began with just a shade of penalty time left for Minnesota on a first period penalty. This is only the second power play opportunity for North of this game. They scored on their first. That tied the game at 1 at the time. They would take a 2-1 lead rather. It's Kalkbrenner who scored that power play goal. Now they've got the opportunity, and well, the board's got 4 minutes up there. So it was indeed 4-minute variety on Kronberg. So a golden opportunity to expand the lead out to 2 goals for North. But shorthanded, Minnesota takes it away. They're nifty with it at neutral ice. Can't push it into the North zone, however. It's taken back away by Hansen. Hansen and Kwame trying to work it ahead. Like Kwame's game so far in this one, he seems to find himself around the puck with regularity. James Larson has it there, puts it back into the middle to Kwame, shovels it over to the far side to Rivard. And in offsides. 3:15 to go in the power play opportunity. 12-14 remaining here in regulation. North on the power play and with the 1-goal lead here. Got the 2019 show from the Bloomington Ice Garden here on Youth Hockey Hub. Panzer through neutral ice on the near side with Larson behind him and Rahala up ahead. Rahala trying to track it down below the goal line. He poked it free, needs some help from Panzer and gets it. Panzer settles it back, has a defenseman, Estebeau, back behind if he wants it. Instead, turns and fires that one right into the chest of Finn. Settles it down, 2:50 to go, but face-off coming in the Minnesota zone now. Panzer square off there to try and win it, pushes it back. It's controlled by Mulman. For Minnesota, puck though slips free out in front. Nobody home for North to try and take advantage. Rudolph comes over late, has it below the goal line. Still possession for North. Trying to truly get into the power play flow of things, but a 4-minute penalty, so 2.5 still to go on the advantage if they need it. Larson tracks it down. Circles behind his net, feeds it up to Rudolph. 4 skaters surrounding the puck. Panzer up to Rahala. Rahala with the green hat. He's going to take it in across the blue line. Fake the long shot, settles it down instead. As Cahill behind, he's walled off the puck. It's taken away and worked down into the corner by Minnesota. 2:09 to go, so they've killed off half of this penalty. And now just have to do the same thing again. Working to kill off a complete penalty for the first time in this game. In front for Panzer. Panzer at the far side post. As a change is going on, it was 4-on-4. Rahala surrounded by blue sweaters. Whistle brings it to a stop. Finn ended up down on the stomach. Metcalf, Kalkbrenner checking in after that partial change for North. So they'll complete it out there with Jackson and Grunberg. Metcalf also still out there. Actually, it was Estebo who was the 5th, and now he will change as Penner checks in. So all sorted out just in time for another change to end it, and Estebo checks right back in. 10.5 to go here in this third period. 1:34 remaining in the power play opportunity for North. They still lead it by a goal, 3-2. Puck slides close to the blue line and does pop all the way free. Johnson taking it shorthanded with Schultz off to his left. Johnson at the circle tries to feed to Schultz. It's intercepted by Estebo and taken away. Back for North to push it up ahead to Jackson. Jackson with a goal and an assist. Slides around a defender. Pursues the puck down into the corner. Needs some help there as Flanders was in hot pursuit. Flanders able to push it up along the boards, only as far as the blue line. Metcalf holds it in, but right back to Flanders. This time he'll take it himself. Estebo shovels it off the glass again. 59 seconds to go in the power play. Under 10 to go in regulation. 4 minutes of penalty time almost killed off here as Schultz has it under control, shorthanded. Still 50 seconds to go. Uses the skate and the stick to kick that one deeper into the zone as he was hemmed in on the far side boards. Brought back up by North. Panzer's in the middle. Panzer's all alone. Down the slot. Shoots and scores. Power play goal number 2 for North, and this time it's Jace Panzer who gives them a 2-goal lead. Well, that was an excellent run of 3 minutes and 10 seconds for Minnesota, but unfortunately they needed to kill off all 4, and North didn't quit. And Panzer off the good feed back to the middle, able to walk home for the top shelf goal. He scores for the 5th time. Rahala, top of the slot, sends that one high off the glass in behind the net. So 9 minutes to go and a 2-goal lead for the first time. North has scored 3 straight. Check that, 3 of the last 4 and make it 4 of the last 5 as, again, Rahala and Kwame get together for the tally to make it 5-2. 8:50 to go as a goal is scored to make it 5-2. And they'll reset it here at center ice. So Kwame off the feed from Rahala. And North has scored 3 straight now. 8.5 to go. And they take a commanding 5-2 lead. This is a team that scored 10 goals earlier in the tournament. Their other 2 wins, though, were both 3-1 finals. So putting the offense on to try and seal a berth in the playoff round of the show 2019. Grunberg puts it back between the circles. Dumped in below the goal line. Down into the corner. Grunberg tries to peel it away. Last one on even strength in the power play goal. Through neutral ice for Metcalf. Metcalf in below the blue line. Estebeau. 7.5 to go. Jackson able to poke it up ahead to Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner from the blue line flies at the circle, dangles between the legs of a defender, but just a little too strong, and Roy tracks it down. 7:20 to go. Roy between the circles. Jackson on the forecheck. Roy dances around it, feeds it up to Aronson near side. Off the boards, and that one not an icing. Tracked down by Metcalf in the corner. 7 minutes to go and a 3-goal lead. Far side circle. Back out from the blue line, his own. Jackson takes it up with Kalkbrenner to his left, tries to float it in there. Kalkbrenner pokes it away from a defender, sends it on the post, and it's saved by Finn. Sliding back down on the backside boards. And a whistle. And we will have penalty coming up on Minnesota. So a pair of power play goals for North. They've got a shorthanded goal in this game. Rahala and Kwame have scored at even strength to make it 5-2. And now another power play opportunity. Grant Frum called for the infraction. North trying to peel it out of their own zone here, up a skater. Couldn't quite do it. Aiden Roy staying after it. The Minnesota victory here would have made things sticky when it came to sorting out the top 8 teams, certainly the top 4 in this, the Jefferson division. They both would have been 3-3, and without a deep dive into tiebreakers, the head-to-head matchup as Panzer steps around a defender and sends that one just wide. Obviously, if Minnesota had done that, they would have had the head-to-head edge over North. But North with 2 goals here in the third, hoping to make that not a question at all. Move to 4-2, drop Minnesota to 2-4. 5.5 minutes to go. Back high through traffic on the shot from Grunberg. Tried to get it back, does shovel it down to the crease, and it just settles wide off of Rudolph's stick. Down towards the goal line. Rahala, 40 seconds left in the power play. He's after it in the corner. Pokes free. Grunberg walks in, back to Rahala. Rahala shoots, and that one gloved by Finn. Rahala hasn't been turned away much like that, you'd have to imagine. 7 goals now in the tournament. Covered up. .26 seconds left on the power play. Jay Kwame steps inside a defender, pushes down into the corner. Mulman back below the goal line. Able to fire it off the boards. Max Thompson back below the goal line. Kwame bumps him off the puck, and we're back to even strength. Schultz will come off the bench for the 5th skater for Minnesota. 4:20 remaining. Here in the third period, North has scored twice to take control. Schultz trying to get one back as he chases this one down towards the corner. Has O'Neill back behind him. At the circle, bent in towards the slot and slung back out there by North with 4 minutes remaining. Trying to take their 4th victory and secure themselves a spot in the bracket for the playoffs this weekend. Schultz outside the circle, pushes it back to O'Neill, and a save from Suda. He turns away Thompson, who was the 3rd man in. And the third skater can't knock it home past the goaltender, Paul Suda. He's looking for his second win of the tournament, would almost even things up between himself and Chasen Baseflug. Baseflug has allowed fewer goals, 8 to the 15 coming in, now 17 total allowed by Suda. But both would be 2-1, both above 80% on the save percentage. Getting some good consistency out of net for this North team, and they'll look for that again in the postseason. Stick down for Finn. He's caught up in the crease with some of his own defensemen, and he survives that flurry from North with 3 minutes to go. Little turn and fire, blocker save away on the feed from Duncan Metcalf. Back below the goal line. Kalkbrenner pops it up. Sitting right there for Jackson. Jackson trying to move it past Max Thompson, couldn't do it, but keeps it in the zone with 2:45 to go to the far side for Estebeau. Estebeau slips it back towards the blue line. And a step around for Kalkbrenner, but he's knocked off the puck. Here comes Schultz. Schultz to the far side. Skaters setting up in front. Minnesota not ready to cash this one in yet with 2:20 to go, down by 3 goals. They've got to get a lot of pressure here. Aronson after it, working over there with Fitzgerald. Puck springs free out towards the blue line, taken away over there by Molman. Molman fires the shot. That was Kronberg, and it's saved by Suda. 2:11 to go. North trying to hang on to this 3-goal lead. Kronberg fires that one through, and Suda pad saves it away. Under 2 minutes we go. Stick around. We'll have an interview with one of the winning players from this one. Rahala off the boards. Tries to play it out of the zone. Couldn't quite get it past Fitzgerald, but it slips off of his stick. Now loose and free. It goes to Rudolph. Rudolph in past the blue line. Rudolph at the circle, and he nearly just brought it all the way out of the zone. Instead, dumps it back down inside. Minnesota with 1:35 to go. Vandertop, who got things started, feeds the puck all the way ahead, and a high shot from the circle sails over the crossbar. 1:25 to go. Puck caught up in the corner, slips in below the goal line. Cahill after it. He'll track it down, has Rahala out in front. Cahill chips the puck towards the center of the ice. Rudolph with Panzer over there. Rudolph took it away. He'll play backwards, turns on a dime, up to Rahala. Rahala couldn't settle it down, had Panzer streaking across the middle. Instead, Rudolph has to try and take it away. Right back to Molman. Molman outside the circle for Minnesota as we go under a minute to go. And the 2-goal third period going to be enough here for North to take their 4th victory. Rahala, he's still got the game-winning goal. That came back at the end of the second with 1:22 to go. And a power play goal chipped in by Panzer here in the third. And Kwame with the final goal to set what will likely be the margin at 5-2. Panzer, will he be the 2-goal scorer? He's going after it. And puck into the side of the cage. Slips back between the crease. Out to the blue line. Final 20-second push for Minnesota. North wanting to hold it right here. They haven't allowed a goal since the 5:50 mark of the second period. Puck spinning off the boards. Final seconds, and the horn sounds, and North, for the 4th time in the 2019 show, able to put one in the win column. They'll do it 5-2. Goals from Kalkbrenner, Rudolph in the first, Rahala the game winner in the second. Panzer and Kwame finish up with goals in the third. The 2 scores for Vandertop and Fitzgerald for Minnesota. We'll talk with one of the winners of this 5-2 victory. North beats Minnesota 5-2. And we'll be back with that conversation after this when we come back to Rink 2 at the Bloomington Ice Garden, the 2019 show on Youth Hockey Hub.